Hi everyone, my name is Stuti and I recently graduated from MIT's MEng program. Over the past year, I received the wonderful opportunity to work in MIT CSAIL's Haystack group under my supervisor David Karger and my PhD mentor Zoya Park. I'm very excited to share our groupware system, TaskLight, that facilitates requesting and managing help in collaborative settings. So let's jump right in. When working in collaborative settings, it's no surprise that people rely on others to get things done. They ask each other for help on things that we call tasks. However, both asking for help and providing help is not always an easy feat. In fact, previous research has shown that collaborating with others to accomplish something can be mentally demanding, stressful, and can easily become more complex as more individuals become involved. And so, over the past year, we sought to explore the needs of users regarding coordination of tasks with the eventual goal of designing a system that would be helpful for collaborative task management. We particularly researched and analyzed requester-performer relationships among collaborators, where requesters asked performers for help in order to fulfill some task. In order to understand the relationships and needs of various individuals involved in collaborative settings, we conducted formative interviews with 7 participants who self-reported being involved in a team. Each interview was 45 minutes. Our main goals from these interviews were to understand how people form and complete requests and what challenges they face in request management. Based on feedback from our formative interviews, we brainstormed a set of attributes we imagined would be helpful for performers. To test whether these attributes we curated were actually beneficial, we conducted a request management field study with 21 participants over a 5-day period. Our main goal of the study was to identify what kind of information would be helpful for people when performing requests. From the interviews and field study, we identified 3 main problems concerning collaborative task management. First, we found that managing requests can feel heavyweight and expensive. Interviewees remarked that keeping a shared task management space can feel like an expense, especially when working in lightweight settings, that is, settings outside of their main work. In addition, participants from our field study stated that although they like structured requests, they don't want that structure to feel forced. They'd like flexible as needed structure based on the complexity of the task. Second, we found that the fragmentation of tasks over various platforms like the shared team space, a personal to-do list, email, and chat makes it difficult for people to stay up to date on task information across all channels. People are burdened with finding relevant task details by sorting through all the channels themselves. They often get overwhelmed and end up not knowing what really requires their attention and where. Lastly, we found that our interviewees and study participants find request management impersonal and that assigning a task to someone does not fit into their sentiment of requesting for help. What they really want to do is this notion of a request where there is collaborative discussion and negotiation surrounding the request, as opposed to deciding all the details of it themselves. Motivated by these findings, we built TaskLight. TaskLight offers features for easing task authoring by recommending useful default fields to make the process of sending a request less overwhelming. It also offers features for easing status tracking of tasks by providing selective disclosure of required actions so that people more readily know what to do. Second, TaskLight provides features for task consolidation by easily connecting with shared objects to make requests feel less fragmented. Third, TaskLight includes features for making task management feel more personal by allowing requesters and performers to engage in collaborative task construction, which offers room for adjustment and negotiation surrounding requests. Here's a demo.
Here we see Phyllis's task list. Let's have Phyllis create a new request. She's immediately shown a view where she can construct the task. She titles the request and assigns Michael as a performer. She sees a narrative guide on the right that shows her how information she provides will help performers like Michael conduct the task. She decides to add a deadline, as well as an estimated completion time. She sees one of Michael's recent tasks related to hiring and notices that it took 30 minutes, so she allots the same time. She then sends him the request. When she views her list again, the task is grayed out as she's waiting for a response from Michael. From Michael's point of view, he sees a new request from Phyllis that he can choose to accept or not. These days he's busy, so he decides that he can't do the task and instead suggests Mindy for it. Phyllis notices that she should respond back to Michael. She sees that Michael has suggested Mindy to be the performer. She accepts the change and sends the request to Mindy. Mindy sees the new request from Phyllis. Mindy's schedule is tight this week, but she wants to help Phyllis out, so she accepts the request but would like to push back the deadline. She has two options. First, she can change the deadline directly by selecting a new date and offering it as a suggestion to Phyllis. Phyllis can then accept or reject the suggestion on her end. Mindy's other option is to quote the deadline and have a conversation with Phyllis about it. Here she quotes the deadline and asks to push back the date. Mindy sees a new message from Phyllis saying the date can't be pushed, so she realizes she should complete the task soon. She begins thinking about how to complete the task and remembers that she previously received a request to hire an intern before. She searches through her tasks to use the previous hire task as a starting template. She also creates an action item called Check If We Have Intern Funding. She makes it a subtask and sends it to Toby from HR with a deadline that defaults to earlier than the hiring task. Phyllis will now review the changes to the task and may also suggest alternatives to Mindy. Using our interface, the two can have a collaborative workspace as they build and complete the task together.
Now that we've seen TaskLight in action, the obvious question you might ask yourself is, well, does it work? And to answer this question, we conducted a user study with 12 participants, 6 pairs of 2 participants each. Each pair alternated roles of requester and performer, and over 4 days they were asked to assign requests to their partner or perform requests for their partner. At the end of the study, we conducted 30-minute exit interviews with each pair to ask them about their experience using TaskLight. All participants said that they would use TaskLight again. Here's what one participant said. The things that I do use are essentially equivalent to speaking to them in person, right? Like just sort of free-form messages. And I didn't feel like TaskLight got in the way of that kind of communication. And it does provide a lot of features that sort of helps people, like build a request, like all of the fields that specify, when do you want this done by, and things like that. And that felt intuitive to use. I really like this quote because it really captures the essence of what we were trying to do, which is preserve freeform communication about a task while adding useful intuitive structure, which is what came across to participants. We come back to this original question of, does it work? Well, based on people's feedback, I'd say yes, it does work, but there are limitations. Participants said that they'd use TaskLight again on the condition that other people are onboarded and also use it. They also mentioned that the lack of notifications placed burden for checking the task list themselves. They also stated that TaskLight would not be as suitable for large-scale projects since the task list view would easily get overwhelmed as the number of tasks increases. And so in the future, we hope to address some of these limitations by making TaskLight an opt-in tool. That is, in order for someone to use it, it won't be necessary for everyone else to also use TaskLight. We'd also like to incorporate more intelligent task notifications relating to task updates. And we'd also like to perform a more comprehensive user study with various individuals from different workspaces and organizations. Thank you so much for listening, and if you have any questions or thoughts on TaskLight, feel free to email us. Thank you.